Recently, my 13-year-old son, after his first year of high school, had to choose between the classical education track with Latin and Greek and the academic track without the classical languages. A fortunate choice, but something remarkable happened, at least so it seemed to me. The teachers presented the classical education track as the better option. That's where you really learn how to learn, they said. But fitting all the courses into the timetable of the classical education track came at a cost. Every creative course was removed. So no music, no art, no crafts, but 6 different languages instead. For us, this was simply not an option, not only because my child is the son of an architect and a designer, me, but also in a time defined by rapid change and complexity, creativity is not a luxury, it's an essential life skill. It's an open door to state that our society faces challenges that cannot be solved with a single solution. Climate change, polarization, migration, technology development, challenges that affect all of us. This, for example, was our cycling weekend in Germany last year. Extreme weather is what we got. These challenges, they demand a different approach. Linear thinking no longer works. Because if we keep doing what we've always done, we will keep getting the same things. This is also the definition of insanity, according to Albert Einstein. And I agree, it is insane to keep doing the same things and expecting different results. We need to change our approach. And this is exactly why we need creative thinkers. Because through creative courses, you learn something that traditional knowledge-based courses cannot teach: the ability to look at challenges from new and unexpected perspectives. A few medical schools in the Netherlands, for example, already offer creative courses as part of their curriculum. Because research shows that seeing things differently, for instance by looking at art, helps doctors to grow in their profession and to make better diagnoses. Because instead of jumping to immediate conclusions, it teaches them to observe first, break patterns, make new connections, and then draw conclusions. And this seeing things differently is also what I use as a designer too. It helps me to break patterns, reframe problems, and therefore design innovative solutions. And I wouldn't be much of a designer if I didn't drag my kids to every museum to look at art and to show them how to see things differently. Because I believe that design is the key to create solutions for those complex challenges. Look around you. Everything you see is designed. Our environment, our economical system, even our democracy is designed. And this is actually really good news, because this means we can redesign it as well. Because the value of design is not only in great-looking products or aesthetics, it's merely in the process of rethinking and reimagining the existing. The other good part is that design isn't limited to solving today's problems. By using imagination to create alternative future realities, design helps us to think critically about the kind of society we want to live in. Instead of jumping to direct solutions, it provokes questions. What do we want as a society? What is desirable and what is not, beyond the constraints of standard solutions? Let me give you an example of my own design practice. The Dutch population is aging, with a growing demand for care. This is resulting in high costs and extreme pressure on healthcare. This is why in the Netherlands we rely on informal care for years, which is care provided by a relative or someone close to the person in need without active participation of the government or healthcare professionals. Everyone, also you, will have to deal with care someday, because by 2030, 25% of the Dutch population will be over 65 years old. 1/3 is already an informal caregiver now. Yet we hardly talk about this. Did you, for example, ever recently talk about care or your own care future with someone close or a relative? Can you raise hands? Who did? Really good. A few people did, but more people didn't do that. And that is very logical, because a conversation about the future always feels premature until it's too late. Or, as one of our participants put it, you think we'll have that conversation someday, or when it rains or something. The thing is, everyone wants to grow old, but nobody wants to be old. It's an image we rather don't think about. This is why we designed the Informal Care Simulator. In 3 minutes, you experience how it feels to be dependent of care. Someone takes care of you. During an audio experience, an actress wipes your forehead. She's showing her love and dedication, but also frustration and impatience. You experience your own possible care future. We noticed that going into this clinical white space in the middle of a shopping center can be a little bit scary for people. Some persons also asked us if we offered blood tests in there. But when we are able to persuade them to step in the moment they step out, that's a whole different story. One person, for example, explained that she felt really lonely in there and that she didn't want it in her future. Another lady realized that the only one she could rely on was her husband. And one guy called his mom straight after the experience. In a personal conversation with our designers, people explore their own desired care future and the steps they can take today. To me, this is an example of how design can spark societal conversations, individually, but also collectively as a society, about a topic that normally feels too abstract or just too uncomfortable to talk about. And the Informal Care Simulator tours through the Netherlands for over 6 years now. Let me give you another example. In the Netherlands, we have big health differences. People living in neighborhoods with lower socioeconomic status live shorter than people living in more affluent areas, up to 8 years shorter. In addition to this, the last 21 years of their lives, they experience less quality of life due to poorer health or serious health issues. The main reason for this is smoking. In the Netherlands, we've got great professional support to help people quit smoking, all insured. 80% of all people who smoke would like to stop. Yet hardly anyone opts for this kind of professional support. At the same time, professionals find it really hard to talk to people who smoke about this quitting smoking support in a non-preachy way. Hello, I see you smoke. Here's a flyer for a quit smoking course. That doesn't work. This is why we designed this giant fluffy cigarette. We call it the chat cigarette. We started walking around with it in neighborhoods together with professionals. What happened is that smokers came to us, asking us why on earth we were walking around with this giant fluffy cigarette. Much easier to start a conversation this way for both parties. I let this image sink in for a second. In a photo shoot, we visualize the role cigarettes play in the daily life of people. In one of the neighborhoods, we asked participants to pick a situation in which they felt the cigarette controlled their life the most. This man in the bed, for example, he told us, I go to bed with my cigarette and I wake up with it. It's always present. This photo series is now a traveling exhibition. It's traveling from the Ministry of Health to community centers to inside a mosque, asking for attention and showing how difficult it is to quit smoking and that it's a myth people can do this by themselves and that we've got great professional support for this. And what's nice to mention is that recently family enlargement took place. He got 2 siblings now, the question vape and the chat minaret. Embraced by a social worker working with youngsters, and the board of a mosque trying to break the taboo on a variety of topics within their Turkish community, embraced by people with design mindsets. I can give you many more examples, but my point is, if we embrace the power of design, not merely as a functional process or a matter of aesthetics, but as a strategic force for change and transformation, we can redesign our society together. Because design creates possibilities we can't imagine yet. It is fueling the conversations we need to have as a society. But we can't do that without creativity. Because creativity, a world without creativity, is a world without the ability to explore new and other perspectives. So let's acknowledge that creativity is as fundamental as learning to read, that Latin and Greek will not define tomorrow, but creative thinking and doing will. So let's teach that, and let's stimulate it, let's value that, because the future of our children and the world they will need to redesign depends on it.